All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're all doing fantastic. We're gonna go. Gonna go. Could make a goal. What's going on, everyone? We'll start this live stream in a minute, but I'm looking for a book. I want to promote a book here. Apparently, my live stream has not been showing all my chat messages, but we're gonna promote a book here. Actually, we're gonna add this. Let's pin that. And this is the book we're going to talk about today. So I have an Audible membership. I highly recommend Audible memberships. It's a great way to actually learn art, even though it might seem counterintuitive. But I want to say art, and I'm going out on a limb here. Some of the stuff I say is BS, and some of this stuff I say is probably pretty true, more true than you might think. But what I'm about to say might shock people, but I'm going to say that art, I think, is 10% technical, 90% mental. 10% technical, 90% mental, right? We can all learn the technical skills probably. And you can all learn the technical skills. You can do the discipline, you can do the practice, you can do the exercises, you can do all these things as far as art goes. But I feel like that's only 10% of it, right? The ideas, the mindset, the creative thinking, the desire, the interest. It might be 20-80, 90-10, 20-80, but 10 or 20% technical, 80 to 90% mental. Coming from yourself, coming from within, these ideas, these expressions, these interests, these inspirations, seeking your muses, seeking your subject matter, going over through your emotions, your expressions. All of these things are a mental thing, right? And when I say that, that's what I mean. So, being that, I wanted to talk about this book. Like, how can you possibly learn art just by listening to stuff? I think that it helps to get into a mindset to absorb some of the ideas, the maybe ways of thinking that have come through many books, biographies, autobiographies, letters of other artists. I think that's really some of the best things. And what's great today is people like David Cho. David Cho has his own Instagram page, YouTube page, or whatever, and he shares all these wonderful tidbits on art. And you can't always tell if he's like being sincere or if he's joking around on his show. But hey, David Cho's a reputable guy, whether he's BSing or whether he's speaking straight from the heart or whatever. Who knows? But I think a lot of art is like that, right? Like there's probably, if I had to guess, since we're going ratios here, how much of art is BS and how much of it is like true from the gut, from the spirit, the artistic spirit? Probably like 30%, maybe even 70%, maybe 70% BS and 30% like, true, thoughtful, emotional, spiritual, from the soul type of work. But that said, I want to talk about this great book. I've listened to it and I've read it, and I highly recommend it. I know this is gonna be a non-art book because, as I just mentioned here, like how can you really learn about art if you're not doing the technical stuff, right? Of course, you need to practice, but the hours and hours and hours that I spend practicing, I would say, hours and hours, days, weeks, months that I actually spend practicing, I think really only constitutes for a small portion. Because if I'm not actually physically painting on a live stream or whatever, I'm thinking about it, I'm dreaming about it, I'm philosophizing about it, I'm posting about it. I'm looking for opportunities around it. So it really is only, and you know what? Thoughts flow so much faster than a live stream painting where all of my thoughts tend to slow down, right? Like if you sit down and you just like think about all the thoughts and how fast they flew through your head, it's a lot. It's really fast. You ever like wake up in the middle of the morning at like 1 a.m. and you can't sleep and you have like 100,000 thoughts flowing through your head, and before you know it, you've just like, you know, came up with an entire thesis on how to build your next great idea, and suddenly it's like 3 hours later and you've had all these thoughts, right? So thoughts flow faster. They're just like blink of an eye, thought. And I think all of this really contributes to um, the art, the creativity. And the book that I'm going to share with you is not an art book. And the guy's a little controversial because he's all about his money, he's all about his business, he's all about those things. But you probably don't even have to read the book, although I consider that it is a very valuable book. I know in art circles, money is a very controversial thing. People get very upset talking about money. Um, but you know, the thing is it's a part of the game, right? You have to, like you just cannot. Unless you're just a total hobbyist. If you just want to stick to being a hobbyist, then that's fine. But if you do want to, work more or like sell paintings and things like that, then or if you just want to get good at it, I think this is a great book. Is Be Obsessed or Be Average. So Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone. It's got a 4.8 stars, which is really good, with 14,500 ratings. That's really good. Like to have that many ratings. So it's not just a book about like money. Even though he's a big real estate guy, business guy, motivational speaker, mentor, but how does something like that help you in a artistic setting? And I think the answer is in the title here. Be obsessed or be average. That's it. It's not a huge promise. It's not you're going to become the greatest artist in the world. It's not that you're going to change the world. You're not going to start an art movement or something, right? Just becoming obsessed. And I practiced this idea in multiple areas, and I really do agree with it. If you could be obsessed with something, you get good at it really fast. Good. We're not talking, world changing, life changing. Everyone's gonna call you the most, the next Leonardo da Vinci, right? We're not talking about that. We're just be obsessed. If you could be obsessed with something, you could just be slightly above average, at least at minimum. Like who knows? Again, there's no boundaries there, right? There's no ceiling that's been set. It's just becoming obsessed. I love this idea. I've listened to this book or read it at least twice. But and nothing wrong with average. If you want to be average, right? If you want to be an average artist, if you want to be an average athlete, if you want to be an average business person, if you want to be an average content creator, if you want to be average in life, if you want to be an average cook, if you want to be an average, spouse, partner, whatever, I mean, that's fine, right? That's okay. Nothing wrong with average. Most of us are average in many areas. But I think the title really does stand out. Is this just idea of becoming obsessed with something? If you become obsessed with something, you can get really good at it. And there you go. So that is the book pitch for the day. Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone. I've been thinking of this format now where I start the live stream with a book discussion. But amazing book, really remarkable. It's motivational, inspirational, and I think it is relevant. Although he talks about like money and real estate and like building his business and motivational speaking and all these things that most of us probably can't relate to. If you're watching the stream, chances are you're probably an artist, or maybe you're just browsing, you're doom scrolling, and you're just looking for a reason to stop and to just stop and chill. And my kittens are being cute. All right, they're being cute little things. So let's go ahead and do some painting. paint. I'm going to spray some vinegar solution around my area so that my cats don't come around. So I spray vinegar solution. Vinegar is really good. Like, it's a natural cleaner. Some people use vinegar to clean their space. But I've also noticed that it helps me to keep my cats away from my painting area. Just for the time being, you know, I don't like them to come around my painting area when I'm painting. All right, so let's see. What are we gonna do? Let's pop up our easel and get started here. Let's do something to our easel right now. So we're actually gonna make this horizontal here. I decided that I'm gonna do a horizontal painting. Which means we need to let's raise this a little bit. Raise that about right there. How's that? Yeah, let's see. Okay. Not too bad. That's a good angle. Let's bring this up a little bit. Maybe push this back. Let's go bring this down. Oops. So here we go. Go forth and paint, people. Painting is amazing, regardless of what you make. You know, you don't even need paints. You can use ketchup or mustard or mayonnaise, right? You got mayonnaise for white, ketchup for red, green, yellow, mustard, and like what would be blue? What's a blue dressing? Not blue cheese. Blue cheese ain't a dressing. I mean, blue cheese ain't blue. Blue cheese is white. Alright, we're going to take a nice big brush here. We're going to start with this big brush. And I actually need to paint the sides down a little bit. So I'm going to do that real quick before we do anything else. I'm going to paint this side down. And we're just going to build this down. Let's keep going. And go build it. Bring it down, bring it down. Here we go. So we are painting on our Meeden easel right now. This is a large, it fits up to 84 inches, which is a little bit over 6 feet. Alexa, how much is 7 feet in inches?
7 feet is 84 inches.
Oh yeah, so exactly 7 feet. So I can fit a 7-foot canvas here, bigger than anything I'll probably paint within the next year. But you never know. You never know. Sometimes sometimes you surprise yourself with what you might do. So we're gonna go with this brush and let's grab a moody blue. I'm gonna go with a moody blue here. Let's grab some white. I need a bunch of white in this. We'll grab our white. What is that? I have this painted on here. Must be a hole in this paint or something. So weird. This paint somehow got all over the place. What the heck is going on? Where did all that paint come from? Is there a hole in this thing? What the heck? I don't see a hole in here, but this means I gotta clean up the floor. Gotta wipe off this floor a little bit. Alright, let's go toss this. Woo! It's stinky over here. Stinky by the little box. Alright, let's see. We're going to grab a ultramarine blue here for our sky cover. Let's put our brush down. And what are we gonna do? We're gonna start with like a cloud cover. Let's grab this blue. Let's just fill this in with our blue here. Paint over this yellow with some blue. Actually, this is covering the light here, so I don't like that. I don't like when it blocks the light. It's pretty green right now. I mean, that makes sense because, you know, I painted blue over yellow, and the yellow's probably still wet from last night. So, you know, I'm just gonna build up with this initial green color. It's blue, and let's see. Maybe we could go grab some more of this blue. Try to put this into here. It is a problem because the canvas is still pretty wet, or it's like not totally dry yet, so it doesn't make for effective layering. When the paint's wet, it becomes a problem. But I'm going into it anyway, so why not? And then, you know, we'll probably work this over a couple days, a couple of layers. Unless it starts to look really good and I'm just like, I don't need a couple more days. Now let's grab some of this white here. We'll grab a lot of white. We're gonna dip it in some mineral spirits. Bring this down. So we're gonna bring this color down and just start to kind of create this transition color. You know what? Maybe we do keep a green cloud-like area, huh? Why not? Oh, here we go. Here's some darker blue that has permeated into the rest of the painting. And let's go. We're gonna bring this in. You know, everything that you do, like, it's like, I think this is what's great about painting is like it becomes just this expression of yourself, right? This is totally, you know, there's an artist that wouldn't dare paint in this chaotic, crazy way that I'm painting, right? There's artists that would never dare, and that's fine. And there's artists that would even be offended by the way I'm painting, probably. Like, you know, like, oh, he didn't do this exactly like, you know, the teacher taught it, right? There's probably an artist that would feel like that, or even people. That is one thing, though. Like, if you're pursuing art more than just a hobby, I would say stay away from it if you have never done anything that requires like criticism, right? Like, or you know, like a pass or fail. Like if you've never participated in sports where the coach like, you know, punishes you for making mistakes. I'm not saying punish like, you know, the coach beating a student or something. I mean like a coach like, hey, you know, y'all did really bad this last game, so you're gonna do a bunch of you're gonna run up and down this field 500 times, right? That's what I mean. Or like a critique. But I think that's one thing that artists who go to college, that's the one big advantage that artists who go to college have over artists who do not go to college, is the fact that they actively critique each other. Like they actively critique each other on a regular basis. They are always, you know, I think on a regular basis. I don't know how every school does it, but I know in the program that I went to, which was a digital concept art school, it was like daily. You get critiques 24/7 from your classmates posting on groups, and you could just get it 24/7 whenever you want it. You get a critique, and it was beautiful. I loved it. I love critiques. But if you've never had them, it might be shocking, because here's the thing: when you don't get critiques, if you don't have a system in your life from which to get critiques, if you don't have friends or like anybody that gives critiques, or you've never been in that situation where to like receive critiques, you have to go look for it. You have to either go look for it yourself, or maybe, you know what, here's the thing: there's some artists that probably do very well online who never have received a critique in their entire life, right? Their only critique that matters to them is whether somebody buys one of their products. Like maybe they make like mugs, or quotes for mugs or something, right? Or they make like cute little dinosaur stickers, or like, you know, they make uh, cute little animal stickers, and you know, maybe never receive critiques, but and their only critique is whether somebody ends up buying one of their stickers or not. That could be possible, but I think that's the one big thing that's missing as far as the what do they call it, the self-taught artist versus the traditionally trained artist. I mean, yes, there's some training involved, but you know, you could go to an art class and find great teachers without traditional art school, right? You can go online and find great courses nowadays without a traditional art school. Now, it helps to have a mentor, one-on-one mentorship, right? It definitely helps to have one-on-one mentorship. I highly recommend it. You know, it does help to have one-on-one mentorship, because you can see what's possible. Sometimes you see, they see things in you that either you need to break, or maybe they see things in you that they're like, hey, this is their strength. They should really, you know, lean into this idea, and that's possible too, right? So, you know, it helps to have a mentor. It's like a third party person, second party person that's been through some of the things that you've been through, and it really helps you to, you know, get a practice going, to see what's possible, what's not. I mean, I guess everything's possible, but but it helps to, you know, see someone whose judgment you trust make work. And with that, with that, very helpful to have a mentor, whether in art business or whatever. I highly recommend it. I had, multiple mentors throughout my art journey. A great online program that I used, and this is for digital painting. I used studied Hardy Fowler. So if you don't know Hardy Fowler, he has a digital painting studio, I think his program is, and he does offer a program where he does like one-on-one coaching or group coaching and all that. I went through Peter Hahn's drawing class. So Peter Hahn does dynamic sketching, and I went through his drawing class and got mentorship from him. And so mentorship really is amazing. And although I didn't go to like a traditional atelier school, I think mentorship is really important. And if you're going to be a self-taught artist, that's fine. But I think, is any artist really self-taught? I don't know. I would argue that most artists are not self-taught. If you've ever read a book or looked at a postcard for inspiration, or went to a museum and got inspired to paint because of some painting or whatever, that's a form of that is a form of mentorship. It's like a self-guided mentorship. So let's grab this yellow ochre here. Let's see if we have any tubes of yellow ochre that might be already opened. Yeah, so many different things. Is this yellow ochre? Yeah, this is yellow ochre. Here we go. Let's go put this down right here. Yeah, mentorship, it's important. And maybe if you need mentorship, you just watch these videos. Maybe this is enough to help somebody. So I'm not really saying you have to have a teacher, you have to pay for some program or whatever. But mentorship is very valuable, whether you get it from a book or an Audible or an audiobook. So I get a lot of my mentorship, I consider, through audiobooks. Aside from my physical, my live teachers, I definitely get a lot of lessons from audiobooks. So all sorts of ways to get mentorship. So let's go like this. We're going to go with the yellow ochre here. We're going to grab our yellow ochre. Grab a nice light yellow ochre. We're going to paint our white here. Now let's just paint this down right here. So this is going to be a nice yellow ochre. This is more of like a pink, but it's more pink than yellow ochre. That's fine. We're just building our initial base color here. Building it in. So this is a desert scene. I don't usually paint desert scenes. I don't, always have the opportunity. They're kind of boring to me, desert scenes. Unless, you spice them up and change them up and everything. But desert scenes are a little boring to me. So I thought I'd challenge myself by painting something I wouldn't normally paint, which is a desert scene. So we're just laying down the initial foundation of color here. I guess originally it was yellow, but we're going to do another layer on top of it. We're just going to go layer, just going to do layers here. It's like a flesh tone. It's like this ends up being like a little bit of a flesh tone, flesh color, a yellow ochre. I think it's got a little bit too much white in it. I think is what's causing some of the issue. Maybe some of this red from the Mineral Spirit 2 I have. And then of course probably this yellow. This yellow probably gives it a little bit of a color transition. And then some of this blue probably pops off into it, and It makes it look a little different, but here we go. We're just gonna build up the main areas here. Let's see, it's doing a lot of sliding. Maybe if I bring this down here and lock it in, do a little less sliding. Yeah, it's a little better. And for this one, I'm not doing like a big sketch out. I'm just going straight into it because it's a pretty simple scene. And I think if you're going to go with a simple scene, you can be a little looser. But if you're doing like a really complex scene, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say it about both ways, right? Complex to simplify the spaces, and then is what I was going to say. And then if it's like much simpler, you can really get loose with it. So let's see right here. This area needs to go about half. Right, that's about half. So whatever half this is, this area needs to go up. So we're going to go up to about right here. And then this other section is only going to be a little bit under a third. So whatever a third is, third would be maybe a little bit higher, like right here. Come a little higher, like right there. Let's just start to bring white into this. So we're going to bring some white into this, and we're going to go right here. Let's get a shape going. And we're going to get another shape like this. That's going to go more than half. By the way, one of my favorite things, this is going to sound really goofy, but one of my favorite things to paint when I was studying digital art, surprisingly, was rocks. Yes, I actually enjoyed drawing and painting rocks. Because like rocks are so challenging. Or they felt really challenging when I was first, studying how to like draw and paint and everything. And I always found rocks really interesting because every little there's so many possibilities. Every little curve and transition of shape becomes its own little like, it's like a cube. It's like hundreds of cubes. A rock is like hundreds of cubes, lattices, whatever you want to call them, put together. And it's up to you to like figure out how to break it apart, So this will be about the first quarter of the painting is going to be like this. So I used to draw and paint lots of rocks. And supposedly in concept art, like if you want to get a start in concept art, you have to be willing to paint the things that nobody wants to paint, right? You have to make the blades of grass. You have to paint the armors. You have to design the things that the director of art doesn't want to design, right? You have to do those things if you're just starting out. And then I think the idea is, I never got into that career, but based on what I learned, what I researched, the idea is that you eventually move up and you get other people to do those designs for you. Hence why I think AI is such a big controversial thing, because those things like, hey, design a rock for me, right? AI can do that. So I think it's a lot going on as far as AI, beyond just like, hey, AI is making art, but like when you really think about it, I think it's really going to change art, and sometimes in a bad way. It's gonna level the playing field, which is what some people love to say. But I think it's also going to, because it removes jobs, because it makes the entry level jobs much more difficult to get, because you don't really need those entry level type things as much. This is my guess again. I never got into the career, because as soon as I discovered AI as I was studying concept art, I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to out AI in AI, right? I'm not gonna do these photo bashing and do it better than AI. So, maybe you could say I gave up. Maybe you could say I quit. Whatever. You could say whatever you want. I don't care. Um, uh, but like as far as that goes, I was like, okay, this is game over for me. I know that I'm not going to compete with AI, so I need to move to physical art, right? That was part of my decision of moving to physical art. There is AI is seriously going to take over, and you have to get really, 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 really good at what you do and really well known, and play the politics if you want your digital art, if you want to be a digital artist. And I'm talking like a commercial digital artist. Like I think digital artists, as far as like, you know, the traditional game of being a fine artist is concerned, is like much harder than if you were to be a physical artist. But I think as far as like, getting a job, commercial work, digital artists have it really easy. Unless you're in NFTs. NFTs is a different space, different conversation. But y'all get it, right? You get what I'm saying. So we're gonna have one up here. All right, so just building this out, and yes. So there we have it. All right, and we're gonna let's get something a little darker for the background. Let's bring in a little red, shall we? Let's go. A little bit of red in the background. I'm gonna have this. I have a little backdrop here. Oh no, this could even be higher actually. This could be a little bit higher. This doesn't need to be that small. This mountainous range of mountains.
Found a bug.
The what?
You found a bug.
Cookie found a bug? So AI. Yeah, when I discovered AI, I was like, I got no chance against AI. And also, like, you ever do something and you're just like, this is not for me. Well, that was digital art for me. I got into digital art and I would do it, and I was like, and I enjoyed some of it. But here's the thing with me and technology is like, if I have a problem and I'm trying to solve it on like a technology problem, like trying to code or something, I will spend hours until I get the exact answer that I was looking for. And I could find like 10 other ways to solve a problem, but I got to know the one specific way that I was looking for. So that's kind of a problem for somebody. Like, I'm a little inflexible in how, in that sense, like, and it just did not feel like fun. And that's why I think, digital artists who are really good, they deserve to get paid a lot of money. Right? They deserve to get those really high-paying director of art jobs at these big AAA game companies and movie companies. They deserve to make all that money, because digital artists, like, they can't just be creative, right? They have to have like a technical ability the ability to solve problems and be flexible while solving those problems. And although I like to believe that I'm fairly flexible, I also realize that um, when it comes to technology, I did not have the flexibility necessary. So we're going to cover up this piece and we're going to redesign this area a little bit. All right, let's clean off this brush. It's like one of those things when it comes to like technology and trying to solve problems. Like I can't look for the alternative. I have to find like the best possible solution. So like I might find an alternative, I might find like a way to work around something, but I want to learn like the exact specific way, and I could spend hours, like 4 or 5 hours trying to figure out trying to find one way that was mentioned in the previous lesson. And that is where I was most challenged as far as digital art goes. So that's one of the reasons why I moved to physical art. But it was one of those things, right? Like you gotta know what works for you and what doesn't, right? What your wonderful gifts and strengths are, and also realizing that you are not, most people are not gifted at everything, right? Sometimes you gotta pick and choose. You gotta pick and choose your battles, creative battles. So we're gonna add some more white into this section. And for me, I personally knew that I just was not into digital art. And especially as I was starting to discover AI, I'm like, peace out. My goodness. Let AI do this. I want to make some physical pieces. I want to move my body, I want my body to get into this. I want my arms moving. That's another thing too. Unless you get a stand-up desk, you can't stand up to paint or to do digital art. So I love, I work standing up. I work and I paint standing up. It's just what I do. It helps me to, I think it brings a certain type of energy to my artwork. And, you can't really, unless you get a stand-up desk. I guess you could get a stand-up desk for digital art, but. And here's the other thing too. The advantage of digital art. Like one thing I really had to overcome was realizing like, digital art is cheap. Digital art, you can sit and, you could pay a monthly membership to Adobe, and that's all you ever need to spend money on. But physical art, oof. Like I just know that this painting alone, every single brush stroke that I make, has a cost, right? Every single brush stroke that I make is an expense. Every single one of these brush strokes is an expense, right? This little glob of paint that I just did is a portion of the two that I had to pay for. So, that's the other thing. I could see a lot of digital artists, especially if the digital artist doesn't totally have confidence in a creative idea, like they don't have they just maybe don't have confidence in their abilities. They're like, oh well, I'm just gonna keep dabbling with digital art because it doesn't cost me any money, and physical art costs money. You need space. You have to get into shows. You have to go out, get prints. So if you're moving beyond being a hobby painter, which again, hobby painter, I mean, even me, if it wasn't, for some of my shows and occasional art sales, I'd probably be a hobbyist painter. But because I do put myself out there, find clients, I do these live streams and all that, I'm able to, turn it into more than a hobby. But, some months when I was starting out, I would say sometimes I'm a hobby painter and sometimes I'm a professional. It just depends on a month, right? And I'm defining hobby versus professional totally by if you're making an income from your artwork. And now I have definitely made an income from my artwork for at least, I want to say, for at least consistently for about 5 months going. I'm not saying a lot, but I can say every month that I've worked as a professional artist. It wasn't always like that, right? But anyway, lots of considerations if you're pursuing art as more than a hobby, but so probably a little bit more talk than needs to happen for depending on what you're here for, whether you're just here to be entertained or whether you're here because you're on a live stream. And I get a lot of viewers on my YouTube live stream. For those of you watching on Amazon, I get a lot of viewers on my YouTube live stream. They're like, how do I price this? How do you sell a painting? How do you, do all these things? And that's why I go into this. I find this helpful too, because it kind of like gets me to evaluate what I'm doing. I get to evaluate what I'm doing. So here we go. We're gonna go blend this area in a little bit. And let's see. All right, so we've got some good natural shapeage here. Let's bring in some white, some more white. What you doing, Scout? All right, so let's find our shape right here. This mountain is going to come down. Oh, wait, that's 1, 2, 3. So then this next one, probably be right around here. Let's see. Get a little triangle going. And I get a little mound of a hill here. It's a little hill mound. This should get a little bit off the center. Let's see, 1, 2. That's that third one. That's that section, right? And then this will be the third one. And then one right in the center, right here.
Hey! Can't eat without your thighs being right under my grill.
And then let's get these two little pieces right over here and across. So we're going to come around and up a little hill right there. Another little hill right there.
Awesome.
And one little pinnacle right there. Now let's see, we can build some of this white into our road. It is starting to come together. I'm just keeping it pretty loosey-goosey here. It's non-stop. Non-stop painting, non-stop. Just keeping it going. And let's see, we're gonna go bring our white under here. A little white area where the desert sand just gets. You know, it is all starting to build up a little. You know, it's still a little bit like. Just wondering. It's gonna come down. It's gonna come higher, which is fine. Let's see if we could throw in some clouds real quick, just to establish our cloud areas. So we're gonna go right above here. There's a little cloud right off to the angle here, right about the halfway point. So we're gonna go right like this. I'm actually just doing a really loose cloud here. All right. Not bad. All right, let's find some reds here. Find some reds here. And we're just gonna go. Let's start with this one right here. We're gonna mark a spot for. Mark a spot to start building up some of our shapes.
Hey. Irma will be here in about an hour.
Okay. Great. Let's start to shape out the landscape here. That's the goal. And all this is going to be, we're going to do another, totally a different layer of this again. Probably in a day or two once the paint starts to dry. Or maybe we might even keep it, you know, I might just keep it this like loose version of everything. try to mark these areas out here. And let's see, from this side, we're going to come down. We're going to do another one right there. And let's see. How's that looking? All right. I think one of the challenges is I didn't let the painting underneath dry long enough. But at least now, you know, we have some good space from which to work and figure out where everything goes. Let's see. Maybe, you know what we can do? So we go with something super loose and drippy here. Let's try that. Try loose and drippy. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 11:35 a.m.
Maybe we go for something different, right? Instead of going for realism in a desert, we go for something a little different. Something a little bit more surreal, maybe. So I don't really care about painting a desert. In all honesty, I'm like doing it for the exercise, right? For the personal workout. But like, do I want to paint a desert? Am I passionate about painting the desert? I'm realizing that sometimes I have this like switch in personality in my paintings, and suddenly I'm like, you know what? I don't even feel like doing that. So why am I doing it? What's up, kitty? Why are you between my feet? Can you not be between my feet, bro? Watch out. Here, miss. Come on, go away, go away. Vinegar, go away. I'm not spraying on them, I'm spraying around them. Come on, go away. Watch out, kitty. Come on. Go. 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 Get. Go away from the lights. Come on, go away. Come on, go. Go. So apparently this is not working for the kittens. They do not care about vinegar being in their vicinity. Big cats do. My big cats can't stand it. Yeah, let's go with these bigger colors here. We're gonna go with a much looser sky. Let's mess around with this, huh? Let's mess around with this like thick style of oil painting. This scene here. You know, I think it would have been better if I maybe used like a cerulean blue, but it's fine. We're just gonna go with this blue here. It is a little surreal, huh? It's kind of cool. I like this. I like where this is going. I like where this is going. So we're gonna start bringing in our white here. I don't know, that just ends up being like a gray. Getting in some whites. I feel like once I start painting like this, there's no real turning back. Kind of have to stick with this, unless I want to paint over it, but that kind of defeats the purpose, right? Because if I try to paint over this, when it finally dries, the paint's going to be real thick, and there's going to be all sorts of issues of trying to paint over it. That will make it look slightly, maybe less attractive as a painting. But this is kind of cool. I actually like where this is headed. I wasn't sure at first, but it's turning out to have some positive design. It's interesting. While I paint, I can tell when I switch from, trying to do a painting that I'm not totally passionate about to like, yo, what's up? Oh, Mizu, man, like, I don't know if you're still here, but whatever reason, I keep trying to adjust my chat settings, and for whatever reason, you keep getting put as not a, your messages are being muted by YouTube. I don't know why. I have to remember. Like yesterday, it said that I had 14 messages, and I only saw 2. When I was live streaming, it said I had 14 messages at the end of my live stream, but I only read 2 messages the entire night. So it's weird what's happening. Oh yeah, but as I was saying, I actually noticed like there's like a point in some of my paintings when I realize that I'm switching from like doing something that I'm not totally passionate about to something fun like this, right? Like, am I totally passionate about painting desert scenes? Not really, but do I love these moments when I go from like painting a desert scene to having this like fun paint heavy expression of ideas? Yeah, I love this part of it, this element that we're going right now. I like this. Where I suddenly switch from like, everything's, let's paint delicately and let's paint gently, and we suddenly switch to something a little bit more exciting like this, right? This is more fun. This is more, it's costs more paint, but it's more fun. Feel more excited about it. The colors aren't exact. It's not precise. It's not the most accurate. It's not realism. I do find that when I try to paint realism, I think really it's for validation, right? It's for validating myself by the people on the internet who say, wow, great job. You're really talented. You're really skilled. You really know how to copy a photo. As if, that is the ultimate skill in painting, is to be able to copy a photo in high definition with your paintings. And I don't think it's the ultimate skill, but I feel like, when I'm posting online, trying to find trying to get likes and subscribers or whatever, I think the easiest thing is to always just go for realism, right? Especially on Reddit. But at the same time, you got to realize, like, the art world, it is not, the realists, the ultra realists are really only a very small part of talented people in the art scene. What if I just did all crazy layers like this? Let's go. Let's actually bring some of these clouds into here, into the top here, so that it's not as harsh of a transition. You know, I want some of these colors to. Francoise Monique. What's up, Monique? Francoise Monique has arrived. Monique Françoise arrivée en la YouTube Vive Stream. Vive Stream.
That's free.
Thanks. Yes.
Lots of yellow.
Huh?
Lots of yellow.
Yeah, so we're gonna bring some blues into here, and we're just gonna go for this like blue yellow. It's like blue yellow contrast. François, c'est arrivé en la stream. Alexa, how do you say stream in French?
In French is
Feu. Monique, c'est arrivé en la feu. Feu de YouTube. Je peinture une scène de désert. C'est un pinnacle en la Death Valley, Mort de Valley Desert. Valley de Mort Desert en la California. In California. You know, let's go for some orange. Why not? Why not go for some orange? This is blue here we're talking about. Why not have some orange here? Orange and red, orange and blue.
Oh, thank you for Right, I'm out of here.
All right, you're out of here?
Yeah.
All right, later. Bye.
Anyway, I'll let you know.
Yep, see ya.
Hazel's gonna be there. She's not sure she can deal with the child.
Valley de la Mort. I'm gonna go like this. We're gonna make this red. Maybe try to find some more yellow. Let's try to find a yellow here.
Okay.
Can you check what these kittens are up to, Kat?
Excuse me? See what they're up to?
Just see what they're up to. See, they're causing a ruckus here.
We're writing.
They're writing a blog? Huh?
Where are you? You hiding? Oh, Cheeto is here. Sprout. Oh, sorry. Sprout is here in the dining room. I'm gonna put them in the bedroom.
No, you know, yeah, I mean, that'd be helpful, but I don't think it's totally necessary.
Well, whatever you want. Let's decide now.
Okay, yes.
Yes, in the bedroom.
Thank you, please.
Okay.
Is this art, or is this just me splattering paint everywhere?
that you? Cheese?
Let's go with some yellow. We're gonna go straight with yellow here, yellow ochre. Just gonna
Here.
bring that in. Bring our yellow ochre. We're gonna make this one more yellow ochre-ish. And give this some more yellow ochre here. Savoir moi. Go me. Yes, go you. How am I? Ça va? Ça va moi? I think that means how am I? Ça va? Comment ça va? How you go? This is actually looking more rocky than if I was to try to paint this overly realistic. Let's go like this. We're gonna bring in some drippy drip. We're gonna bring in some of this drippy drip here. We do lose some detail, but that's not too bad.
Your tea.
Let's go into here. Get some of these drips here. Get the drip on. Maybe add a little bit of blue. Let's see. Let's add a little bit of green here, just to contrast with all the red around. Bam. All right. Here we go. So you're not going to be here when Irma comes, right? What is this? I don't know. I'm liking it. Alexa, what time is it?
It's 11:51 a.m.
Okay, Irma's check is on the refrigerator.
All right, but you're not gonna
I
be
won't be here. I
here.
have a doctor's appointment.
She's coming in 5 minutes.
No. You know, she comes when she comes, but it'll be like 12:30, maybe 12:45.
Okay.
When she gets here, she gets here.
Now I'm probably gonna wrap this up and then.
Well, it's looking better around here.
Yeah.
Finishes and look really good. Make
Yeah.
sure there's nothing left around that you don't want her to touch.
Okay.
Cleaning machine. Over here.
Makes these rocks look fleshy.
Fleshy rocks.
Fleshy rocks. Look at this. This is an interesting painting. It's different. It's very. What's that? It's very rough. No worries. You know you're annoying, and then I'm just ignoring. Yeah, pretty much. That's what I do.
Alright. On my water. Had it in my hand. Where did it go? No idea.
Oh, you know what would be a great brush for this? A fan brush. A used fan brush. Let me find my most oldest useless fan brush.
Gracious.
Here's one of the reasons why it's good to save your brushes is you need it for like stuff like I'm about to do. Yellow ochre is the color of peanut butter. I need to brighten this up a little bit more. Got a couple bushes here, a bush there, bush there, bush there, bush there, bush there. Let's grab some white. Let's get a white bush. Some bushes right into here.
You're gonna steal my lid, Dookie. Did you? I think you did. Guess what? Yes, you did. I see in your mouth. You're such a thief. She took it right from under my nose while I was filling the water bottle. Little sneaky thing. Yes, you are. You're so sneaky. I'm gonna walk Kylo today too.
Good. All right. Cool.
Oh, it's in the shoe.
So she didn't take it?
Huh?
So she didn't take it?
No, the water bottle I'm looking for is in the shoe. I ordered your films. No, she took it.
All right, and this has been an interesting, fun painting so far. And honestly, I think we could say that we're done for now.
Oh, the back door is locked.
So we're gonna take a break here. It's actually turned out pretty good. I'm surprised. I thought it would look a little different. You know, my initial plan was to just do this really like nice and really nice and pretty, and you know me. If you know me, you know me. Things change, right? You want to try something a little different. Just can't be the same. You just can't be like everybody else. You got to put the banana on the wall. What's going on? Be mean to the kittens, Cookie? Or maybe come over there. Okay, and here we go. I'm gonna let this dry, and I could totally enter this. I would totally enter this into a desert landscape painting. Desert landscape painting occasion. So with that, we're gonna take a pause on this. Feels so weird not having TV, because usually what I would do after finishing like this, probably go put on some TV. Instead, I'm gonna go do some work. So let's leave this, and with that, take care, everybody. Yeah, there we go. We got our natural landscape desert painting of the day. Goodbye.